Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Beats and Bobbins. My name is Evan Roth. Today we're going to be looking at the Rane One MK2. I have a MIDI mapping for this I'm going to share with you for Djay Pro. And more specifically, I'm going to be talking about a small change to the tempo adjustment or the pitch fader hardware. And this is something that can be done on any DJ controller, so stick around. So the main thing that I wanted to focus on in this video, that's true of all DJ hardware, and it's the biggest thing that I changed in the MIDI mapping for the Rane One MK2, is the way that the pitch adjustment fader works. And so I changed that from being tempo, which is how these typically work, to adjusting the tempo, to instead adjusting key. And my thinking on this, and don't kill me in the comments on this one, but just for me, the way that this pitch fader works and works on all DJ gear almost to adjust tempo, it just doesn't make sense for me. Like I don't like that it caps arbitrarily how high I can turn up the tempo or how low I can turn the tempo down to. I also don't like that if I'm using sync and this gets out of rhythm with where the tempo is, meaning that maybe I've changed the tempo because I've synced to another deck, and now this fader is no longer positioned to where that tempo slider should be technically in the software, and then I've got to use soft takeover. I hate soft takeover. But for changing pitch, this hardware makes more sense to me because the zero position will be where our pitch is neutral. And then if we go up, it hits at the octave. It hits at 12 tones up or 12 tones down. And so it makes sense to me that this slider could be used for key change as opposed to tempo change, and we put those tempo changes somewhere else. So to just give a quick example of what I'm talking about here, I've got a Kaja Bonet song, Joy, loaded up on deck 1. I'm going to turn on the acapella. So you can hear the key is changing, but the tempo is staying steady. And so I'll just do a quick demo of how that might look when mixing in with other songs. I don't want to spend too much time in this video going over the specifics of the Rane One MK2 because there's a lot of great videos on YouTube that already do this, but I do feel like I should say that I am absolutely in love with this piece of gear. I love the tank-like build of it. I love the motorized decks. I love the paddles. I really surprisingly like that there's only 2 decks, but the main thing that I love on this gear that I hope gets implemented on all DJ gear moving forward is how they put all the stems controls front and center on the top of the decks. You have acapella and instrumental buttons here. Here you have all your 4 channels for dealing with stems, and so it's not hidden behind a pad mode. I mean, technically it is hidden behind a pad mode also, but most DJ gear puts stems control underneath a shift condition or underneath another section within the pad control. And I love that no matter what I'm doing on the decks anywhere, I can always see which stems are turned on and which stems are turned off. So I really hope that this is a feature that becomes the norm moving forward. So the Rane One MK2, it comes bundled software-wise with Serato, and I did spend a few weeks after getting into this trying to learn Serato, but here I am a month later talking about Djay Pro again. I will say that I probably didn't give Serato a fair shake. The things that I did like in Serato that I'm going to miss that Djay Pro doesn't have are the stems effects. So like the fact that I could hit an acapella echo out, and it would echo out just the acapella and leave the instrumental turned on, and then update all the indicators for that in the software and on the hardware. That was great. I wish Djay Pro did this. But for me, these stems effects in Serato, they just weren't a big enough incentive for me to want to get back into doing track prep and setting beat grids and setting one beats, all the things that I don't have to do in Djay Pro much at all anymore. I found myself doing this in Serato and just thinking, like, what am I doing? This feels like going backwards in time. And so I switched back over to Djay Pro. The Rane One MK2, it works with Djay Pro out of the box, so you don't have to do any MIDI mapping to get that work. And in fact, the things that I changed were really minimal and probably just set up for the ways that I like to do things. I already talked about the adjustments I made to the way the pitch fader works. The only other things I changed on this really was, I think I changed this sensor silent cue button to be the library toggle. So this toggles the expanded mode of the library. I just like being able to hit that quickly and see the whole library. Because I changed the tempo away from this, tempo on this now is just these parameters. This is up tempo, down tempo. If you hold down shift and press this, it'll jump in big jumps. And then the slit button, which I don't ever use, this is reset tempo. So this little quadrant becomes my tempo controls now. This, as I said, was now key change. I set the pitch bend to just incremental key change. So this is just up a single note or down a single note. And then this is reset the key range. So this is kind of all key stuff. This is all BPM stuff. And those are really the only changes I made within the MIDI mapping. If you want to download this MIDI mapping, it's a free download on my site at shop.evan-roth.com. I'll put a link below. And then just one last thing I wanted to mention before closing out this episode is that just a few days ago, I posted a new album. I make music under the name Rotary Farm. Anybody that's been following this channel, you've probably heard bits and pieces of some of these songs as they show up in tutorials I'm making. The new album's called Follows. You can stream and download this album for free at rotaryfarm.xyz. As a visual addendum to the album, I also built this new website for the album, which is kind of a music visualization tool so that while you're picking songs and listening to the music, on the right you can watch this world map update in real time where the building heights are bouncing to the audio levels within the music. But this isn't just for my album. You could turn off my music, turn on the microphone at the bottom here, and then any audio that's with you in the room will be then affecting the height of the buildings within the map. Like you can see that now my voice is affecting the heights of those buildings. There's a tour mode, so it's going to bounce from city to city. You can change how long it stays within each city. You can also turn that off, though, and search for your hometown and have the visuals just react to the music within your hometown or anywhere else in the world. So please feel free to use this as a tool. Listen to the album. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll be back with another episode of Beats and Bobbins soon.
I just want to say, finally, go Birds, fuck ice.